Hi guys, welcome to the live stream. We have Popimento with us, Yadorenko back, and we have a new guest, Chava, all the way from Mexico. Chava, how are you, man?
All good here. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you for being on the channel. First time we have a Mexican Ajax fan on the channel. I'm going to ask you a few questions about that just in a minute. Before we start, big up to everyone that's watching and also for their patience. Not so much because we're 2 minutes late, but because still no fireworks in the transfer window. So yeah, we have to be patient, guys. Sven is testing our patience basically, but still we have a couple of things to discuss today. And it will be nice also for people to join the discussion and ask questions or put their comments in the comment section. Before we start, two things very important. We don't have a moderator today, so I'm going to say it just once. If you guys enjoy the show, if you guys enjoy our channel, it will help us a lot if you guys just give us a like. And if you haven't yet, of course, just subscribe so we can grow a little bit more, try to also get some more Ajax fans from abroad, but also here in the Netherlands to watch our channel. So that's one. The second thing is, which is also very important, of course, I didn't really take the time for it last week. Good news about Edwin van der Sar. We have to say, like, we hope he recovers quickly. Good news that he's released from the intensive care. Now he's starting his recovery, and hopefully next week, he said, he can also leave the hospital. So everybody is hoping for the best, and good to hear that things went well. There was a picture about him, and he was very good with his wife, so that's good news as well.
I love the picture, by the way, Juan, because he really looked well.
Yeah.
For what he was going through, and he glowed a little bit. So
yeah, I agree.
I don't know, but I really thought the image was really good.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. All right, let me start with Chava. We have to poke Chava a little bit as a guest. Chava, listen, there are viewers and me and Yadorenko and Popimento. Everybody is like, okay, hold up. What's a Mexican being an Ajax fan all about? Like, how does that happen? Honestly.
It's funny because it all has to do with my aunt. So at that time, when I was 8 years old, it was the '94 season. My aunt lived in the Netherlands, well, especially in Amsterdam, and whenever she came to Mexico, she used to bring me like the Ajax kit and always like stationary stuff, like a pencil case, a pen, whatever of Ajax. And at that time, Ajax was the team at the moment because we were reaching the final of the Champions League against Milan. Kluiver's late goal. Also, next year we also reached the final and lost against Juventus. So everybody was talking about Ajax, and I was like the cool kid in the school because I had my Ajax jerseys, and everybody was like, "Oh, Ajax is the best club in the world." So that's where my love for the club started. So thanks to my aunt. And then I remember it was also the World Cup in 1998 came, and we were in the same group, Netherlands and Mexico. We actually made it to the knockout stage because we had a late goal against the EU by Luis Hernandez El Matador in the 94th minute or something.
It was a draw, right? It was a draw.
A 2-2 draw, yes.
Yeah, I remember.
So also the Netherlands team had a much popularity in the country, and then I remember one of the goals that marked my life was that goal when you were facing Argentina of Dennis Bergkamp, where Frank de Boer makes the pass all the way from the defense line, and then he scores. And it was like, the guy who passed the ball to Bergkamp is an Ajax player, and Bergkamp was an Ajax player, and all the players in the Netherlands were basically Ajax players, so that also made me grow my love for the club. And then, but it was very difficult, like being in Mexico and then follow Ajax because we couldn't see like any matches. Like you probably had a glimpse of a Champions League match, and that was it. So I remember also that the FIFA games started to come up like in a more pro way in the early 2000s. So that's like the way I was able to get to know the squad. So and I remember that first squad, like in the early 2000s, Levant as a goalkeeper. We had Grigera Maxwell, Snyder, Van der Vaart, Ibrahimovic, PNR. Like, it was a really, really great team. We also made it at some point to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. So that also made me love the club even more. And then I started to follow it a bit more. I mean, it all depended on whether the ESPN or whoever had the transmission agreement passed the match in the TV. But in the end, I also had the opportunity to live in London for 2 years. That was back in 2013 to 2015. So that's when I actually went to my first match at the arena, and also my first match in the Champions League. It was Ajax against AC Milan. It was a 1-1 draw. With actually, it was Stefano Densuel's goal, like a 90-minute goal. But then we got tied like in the 94th minute. So I got to scream a goal at the arena. And also I remember like hearing the song of the Champions League at the beginning of the match. I was crying like a baby. Like, it was a really, really great experience. And then, like, streaming happened, and we're able now to watch like pretty much every single game of the Eredivisie in Mexico. Of course, I don't miss Ajax games, but that's when also my love for the club started to grow even more, because I could follow now what was happening with the team in the matches. And also because of you guys, weTalk Ajax has also brought me closer to the team, because all the news about Ajax are in Dutch. I don't practice Dutch. I don't know anything of Dutch, so that's also very helpful to follow the team. So
you don't know any word in Dutch? Not one?
No, not one.
Okay. All right. Listen,
we will teach you Java.
Great.
Just a practical question, right? So let me get this straight. Sometimes, Ajax has those 12:30, 12:15 games on Sunday. I know you guys are earlier than us. So what does it mean? What time you have to watch that game then?
So I remember one time last year that a game started at 4 a.m. in the morning, Mexico City time. So yeah, it's tough to watch the game sometimes, especially if you have a party the day before and you have to wake up the day early in the morning to watch the game. But still, I try to not miss the games. At the same time, it's a benefit, because given that the games are so early in the morning, Mexico City time, you usually have time to watch the game, and you don't have like other events going on or things you have to attend in the evening.
Yeah, and what about when you have European games like Champions League or Europa League this season? Aren't you in the office or working, or how do you follow those games?
Yeah, those games usually happen at 1 or 2 p.m. Mexico City time. So we are usually at the office, but it's like a very common practice, like for people to just watch the games at the office. You usually have a TV at the office, so it's like or you usually also could go to lunch with some friends at the office and watch the game. So yeah,
good.
That's good.
So you know everything. You can discuss now. You can discuss with us. All right.
I'm ready to debate.
Perfect. Okay, let's get to it, guys. Let's get to it. Listen. We'll talk about Bassey in a minute. But we have to go back a little bit last week, because last week we were talking about Tadić. It was the main topic. This is not going to be the main topic now, but since our Thursday live to the Friday last week, a lot happened. It escalated basically, because we were talking about he's not happy and these kind of things, and then all of a sudden the next day we part ways with Tadi. So look, we talked about it in the Twitter space, but there are of course viewers that don't watch or follow us on Twitter. So I just want a quick opinion, guys, on, first of all, how do you think everything went? And also, if we look past Tadić now, he left, so there's nothing else we can do. What should we do? I mean, should we get a replacement for Tadić? How can we, absorb somebody that has double digits for 5 years in terms of goals and assists? So let me give it to Jadarenko first.
Really?
Yeah, really. Or you don't want to go first? I can ask Pimento as well if you want.
I'm gonna bring the atmosphere down.
No, go ahead. Just your honest opinion. Go ahead.
Now, I think it's fine that he left. I think it's a typical push-pull situation, and I really think Tadić didn't expect Ajax to say, no, we're not going to listen to you anymore. And then it escalated really quickly, and I find it very bit curious that he was on his way to Fenerbahce all of a sudden. And in the same suit, he signed the deal. So it makes me feel something was already cooked up a little bit. Otherwise, signing that quickly is a bit odd to me. I don't think you need to replace him, because I don't think you can find anyone to replace him with his stats, with his leadership skills, etc., etc. So I just think you just need to move on and not look for a second Tadić or something like that.
So are you saying, I mean, maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying, but we don't have to get somebody for Tadić. You're saying the current squad, especially looking at the left side, maybe left wing side, that should do it for you.
For me, Gods and Kaloko should do it, and it's not going to be on that level. Yeah, I know. It's not going to be on the level, but it's going to be a rebuild anyway. So then make it a good rebuild. And so on the footballing side, I'm not that worried. Leadership, there's a vacuum, but we knew that. So.
All right, you're okay. I will not ask you about Koloko and Gods because you missed two other names, basically. What about Bergwijn and Darami? Because we still have Darami as well.
But we're going to discuss the preseason games, right?
Okay. All right. Okay. Let me go to Papimento. Papimento, the whole Tadić situation that happened last week, and also, do you agree with Jadrenko? Do you think like, oh, we can absorb this with the current left wing players that we have?
Good evening, everyone. Look, I don't agree with Jadrenko that we're not going to miss Tadić. Because
I didn't say that.
Best.
Didn't say that.
I mean, look, yeah, well, you did. It's not going to hurt us that much. In his position, maybe, but as a leader, as a legend, as somebody that loves Ajax, as somebody that you would never have to think twice that he would stay at the club because he loved the club that much. I think we did lose a lot in that sense, and you don't need to find someone for the left wing position to cover Tadić, but we are lacking leaders in this team, and it's going to take us a while for us to find that back, because usually finding the next leader is a process, right? And that process needs to come together during the season, I guess. But if looking at now and how many players we lost a vice captain Timber, we lost Tadić, we definitely have some leadership issues within the team at the moment.
So for you, okay, so recap quickly on this one, Papimento. You're saying for you the biggest miss is the leadership on the pitch. Also, when you take it into account that Timber also left, is that even more than his quality on the pitch?
And that we don't have an alternative leader for Tadić.
Yeah, but
nobody's going to do that well.
Yeah, but that's more important as a miss for you than what he did on the pitch. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm going to say that. Just because I think Tadić was not the Tadić from when we first bought him. So even that level went down. So maybe even if his stats was up to par, which he takes all the penalties and stuff like that, but anyway, and the free kicks and everything. But the stats was up to par. Still, you could see during the matches that his level was dropping and he couldn't make a mark like he was doing before. So, I think Ajax did a good job in preventing what happened with Daley Blind with Tadić, because it could have easily happened this season, mid-season again. And I thought it was pretty classy how they handled it.
Okay, can you elaborate a little bit why? What do you mean by that? It doesn't go the same way as what happened to Blind for our viewers, for some of the viewers that don't understand what you mean.
Yeah, well, Blind started playing that season, but he wasn't playing good because of his status and image. He was playing pretty long, like for 6 months under Schreuder. He wasn't really switched up a lot. When he got switched up, the problems started happening between him and the coach, and he left mid-season. Tadić is a person that wants to play everything. So you might have the same situation in mid-season happening with Tadić if he doesn't play. So this is maybe just looking ahead understanding that Tadi is not a player that wants to sit on the bench, and just solving the issue before it can even happen.
All right, clear. Chafa, do you share the opinions of the other panels, or do you have a different opinion about Tadić leaving and what kind of impact it has on the team?
I actually share the opinion with Papimento. I have to also put everyone into context. Like, I'm very biased because to me, like, Tadić is a legend. Like, and based on the comments I did before, that it was very difficult for me to watch Ajax like back in the 2000s. Like, in the recent years, to me, like, Tadić has been the Ajax player I feel represented by. So I agree that the most part that why he will be missed is because of his character, his leadership skills. But I think that also we are underestimating. Like, I also agree that he was like decreasing his level last season, but like all the team was like, you had glimpses of hate in some matches, but the whole team was really, really bad last season, and Tadić as well. But even in that situation, like, he contributed to 40% of the goals in the season, either with assists or with direct goals. So, and if you actually combine, because you can argue, okay, Tadić played all the games, and then you had Berwin not playing the entire games, or Brobbey coming into the second half, and then also Kudus at the beginning of the season when we had our previous coach.
Schroeder.
Schroeder, sorry, he didn't play that much. But if you combine Kudus, Brobbey, Berwin, you actually don't get to those stats of Tadić. So I think those stats are kind of underestimated. So I also think that, yes, definitely for the priorities, that we will miss his leadership. And that I agree also with Papimento that that's something that it's not, you can sign someone and then like just make him the superstar at Ajax and a legend. It's something that has to be built within the team, and it will take probably 2-3 years for someone to step up in that sense. But I also think that in his assisting and in his goals, like I think that last year, I don't know if you have this sense about everybody was trying to show themselves. Like, Berwin always tried to score his goal. He sometimes had the opportunity to pass to another player, but he tried to score. Kudus as well. And Tadić, I think, was the only one who played as a team. And probably it was also the situation because we were not in a good moment. And everybody wanted to show himself to hating or so. But I guess I also agree that we don't need a specific player to come to the team to replace him. We have, as you mentioned, Berwin, we have Götze, we have Darami, we have even Van Axel Dongen. So, but I think that it depends on Stank if he is going to be able to make us play as a team and not like on an individual manner, just to try and everybody in the forward line to try to score his goal.
Yeah, exactly. Good points, Chafa. To be honest, I wanted to also touch upon, all the goals and assists that we missed, but you made a good point that it should be absorbed in a team order. We have to play differently, more as a team, and then maybe we can get to those goals, but then differently, not one player or being dependent on one player. Because there's one of the questions also from John W. Thank you for your question. Didn't seem as though we replaced Haller's goals. So who will replace the assists and goals by Tadić, as well as the leadership? So basically this question about the leadership, which Papimento also alluded to, this is my next question. So taking away his stats, and what he brings on the pitch, who's next in line now? Also knowing that Timber went to Arsenal last week, which he was the vice captain. Who's next in line to take over the captaincy band? Because this is a real topic right now. I mean, we saw in the Shakhtar game yesterday that Klaassen was wearing it. We saw an interview also with Stein that he said, like, let's see how it develops. He wants 4 or 5 leaders in the squad, and then naturally he will appoint a captain. But what do you guys think about the current squad, of course? Who should be the captain in your view? What do you think, Chava?
I honestly think, and I know in our previous friendly game against Shakhtar, Klaassen was the captain, and that as you mentioned, that Stein mentioned that he wants like 4 or 5 captains. But to me, like the next leader, and of course it's not a match to Tadić, but I think Berghuis, for me, would be like a good leader. I remember there was one game last season right at the end when Hato started playing that he was actually encouraging Hato to go forward, and you know how he responded also to the insulting comments to Bobby in the last games of last season. And I think that's like the courage or the leadership you want to see in the captain of Ajax. So to me, Berghuis would be the guy we should be looking to. And also, the captain should be someone who is like a regular starter, you know. And to me, it's not very clear that Klaassen will start all matches.
Yeah, I'll come to Klaassen in a bit, also later in the show. Papimento, your view on who should take over the armband, and also Kaan's already winking at you and saying Franco. So please don't make that mistake again.
Kaan's. Well, actually, you guys might find it very weird to get what I'm gonna say, but it's gonna be Branco for me as a leader. He was kind of a leader within the Toulouse team. He's older than the rest of the team. I mean, we always have youngsters, so he's in the 28, 27 range. He has experience. I don't see Berghuis and Bergwijn as leaders. As
Why
just
not? Why not?
personality-wise, they're not leaders. They don't have that natural leader in them. Like even last season when we were struggling and somebody had to talk to the team to fire him up, it was Alvarez or it was Tadić or it was never Berghuis or Bergwijn. And Bergwijn, he doesn't even seem like an intelligent player. So no, he can't be a leader in that sense. If you're constantly going in to shoot for you, no. If you only cut and shoot and that's your only move, then you're not intelligent enough to be a captain. So that gone. Berghuis
So much hate
hit
for
somebody.
that. All right.
No, but listen, you have to also look at Berghuis. He just hit somebody last season because
Exactly.
it was for racism and he had every right to do so. But I never seen Tadić in such a situation, and I don't know if him being a captain would be such a great idea. So I would go with Branco because I think he would play most of the matches. I think looking at the games, but we'll discuss that later. He was pretty solid, and I expect him to play most of the Ajax matches this season.
All right, Yoderenko, something to add to that? Do you agree, disagree? Where do you stand?
No, I think it's it's the most logical choice. I would choose Rulli at first, just because you need a starter, and there's as I mentioned, with Tadić leaving, there's a leadership vacuum. But what I saw in the game, Branco portrays the leader role on the pitch. So I really wouldn't mind if he gets the band even in the next preseason game and keeps it. So I think that's good. Klaassen is not a leader. Berghuis is not a leader. Bergwijn is not a leader.
Wait. Stein said that Klaassen is a leader in the dressing room, so we have to give him that.
Exactly.
Maybe he polishes everybody's shoes, but on the pitch he's not a leader. He always goes all in for him, and he does that very well. But he doesn't. How do you say it? He doesn't get the respect you need as a leader, football-wise. In my opinion, I think he's not that personality that you need. And what Branco portrayed was very impressive to me. I think he's going to be quite a nice surprise this season.
Yeah. All right. Just another question. So we're talking about the main captain, right? What about the vice captain? Who should be vice captain in your view? Because some people are mentioning here, like the Vagebond is saying here, Rulli is an intelligent option, as a captain. But also other people are saying, yeah, maybe he wants to go to Spain. There are rumors about Rulli maybe going to Spain.
He wasn't happy, right, here?
Yeah, he misses Spain a lot. He's not happy in the Netherlands. But who would be the vice captain then? If you guys are dismissing Klaassen as a captain option, or Bergwijn as a captain option, as a leader, if Branco is number one for all of you, also for Chava, I assume?
Yeah.
Who would be number two in your view? Who would be number two, Chava?
To me, would be Branco. Like the first one would be Berghuis, and then the vice
Oh,
captain.
Berghuis for you number 1, Branco number 2.
Yeah,
Papi?
exactly.
If you have to give a second, I would give it to Klaassen, even though he's on the bench. He's a leader in the dressing room, right? So just give him
Okay.
vice captain.
Okay. Yodorenko?
I really don't know if you leave out Rulli as a second captain because he might leave. And we're all assuming that Alvarez is leaving, obviously, because otherwise I think Alvarez would be the most logical choice at first. I actually think about Kudus, and that's because I think he's a midfielder, and I think he
Who?
always
Sorry,
plays.
Who?
Kudus?
You're gonna make
If
Kudus
he
5
stays,
seconds?
though.
No, come on, Yodorenko. I'm sorry. I have to stop the stream now. No. I have to stop the stream. Why? Look, I understand. I have to cut you here. I understand that you want Kudus. One of your arguments was that you also have to be leader on the field. You also have to be a leader in what you show on the pitch. That I agree with you, but you also have to have the personality to be a leader. Kudus.
Yeah, but if I can answer, if I go to the beginning, I would preferably choose a defender as captain, like Blind was, because he has the overview, the forward thought, like De Ligt was, very young. And I'm also thinking about Hato, but he's very, very, very young. But he does have some qualities on the pitch. But personality-wise, I think that's a stretch
to give him that responsibility. Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
So I don't like a non-player, a bench player for the captaincy. So that's not going to be Bergwijn with me. It's not going to be Berghuis. It's not going to be Klaassen. So there's not much left. I'm not going to give Salah Eddin the captainhood. So that's the reason why I say Kudus. And again, I said there's a leadership vacuum because there's no real one, except for Alvarez, but there's really a vacuum. And that's, I think you just have to work through that as hard as it will be.
Yeah, I was thinking, honestly, before it happened today, I was thinking about maybe Remco Pasveer. But yeah,
but he's out.
I'm sorry?
He's out for 2 months. So.
Yeah, at least 2 months. I hope we wish him the best of the recovery, of course. It's so bad, man, starting the preseason like this. Probably his final year, probably. But yeah, he will be a miss. By the way, just quickly touching upon that, also for the people watching, do you guys feel like with him being out for at least 2 months, that we might maybe need to look for another goalkeeper, or no? Don't rush into things. It's fine. No,
it's fine.
I wouldn't rush it. Rush it. I think 2 months. Rulli is our first keeper anyway. We have Gorter that can do backup if something happens to Rulli. Look, if we're talking about Rulli leaving, then we have to really look for something else. But now,
are you guys
2 months injury?
Yeah, are you guys confident about maybe Gorter? If within those 2-3 months, if something happens to Rulli, that Gorter can step up?
He has to.
Confident with that?
He has to, Juan. He has been at Ajax for a long time. He went on a loan spell, came back. It's time to prove himself again. He got a chance last season in the Johan Cruijffschaal. Didn't go so well. Ajax still want to keep him. So now when he gets a chance, he has to take it. He had enough chances then. If he doesn't take it, we have to look for different opportunities.
What about you, Chava? Do you agree?
Yeah, Gorter is already 23 years old. I think he has to already step in. I agree with the Papimento. He already had the opportunity. He had a very bad match. I remember that time. He actually made a mistake in 2 goals. I remember it was like a 5-3, if I recall correctly, the score. But right now, we should question whether, if he's not ready to step up, then he shouldn't be in the team anymore, and we should start bringing someone from the youth academy forward. But I guess it all depends on whether Rulli wants to stay or not, if we should go after another goalkeeper.
Yeah, but also touching upon Horter, right? That it's his chance. He's been with Ajax for quite some time. I mean, he was loaned out to Aberdeen, but he barely played. I mean, I think he started 4 games or something, if I recall correctly. So he doesn't have a lot of matches under his belt, and that for a goalkeeper is always an issue,
Look,
And we don't,
I'm not
and you know what
saying-
we've been, what also why I'm asking these questions, guys. I mean, in recent years, we've had some bad luck with goalkeepers. I don't have to remind you guys about what happened, with all the keepers that we had. So that's why I'm a little bit hesitant whether we should keep it as is with Rulli and Horter and maybe somebody else to come in from young Ajax or something. Yodorenko, do you agree or you see it differently?
No, I full-heartedly agree with Papiamento. Get Ajax back and just if the opportunity comes, you have to show it, and if you don't, then the next one is gets the opportunity to show it. So for me, Setford, De Graaf,
Look.
behind. So
Yeah, look how young Onana was when he got the chance at Ajax. I mean, if you have the quality and they give you a chance for a couple of matches, your quality should come true, right? Come out.
goalkeeping is something
on the
different
pitch.
as playing on the pitch. If you're young and on the pitch, you might have a little bit more trouble with physical aspects of the game, whilst goalkeeping is mostly keeping your goal clean and coaching your defense.
Yeah, communicating. Yeah, correct. Guys, give me a moment. I'm going through the comments. I will pull them up and we can discuss them, and then we'll move to the next topic. Let me start with Luca, who's becoming a bit depressed, I think. Luca, please, we're with you, man. You're not alone on this. If we don't succeed bringing in at least a standard name as a CB before the training camp, which is next week, by the way, I will develop serious sleeping problems.
What
It's not
does
what
he
we
mean?
want to
Wait,
hear,
wait.
Luca.
Me too.
Sorry?
Can you bring it back, Juan?
Of
What does
course.
he mean with a high standard name as a CB? Can it be a youth player with high potential, or does he mean somebody that's already established?
Maybe he can answer and we'll pull it up later. So, Luca, you have a question from Papimento on this one. Let me see. Johan Craft, thank you for your comment. He says, I feel like it needs to be like about the captaincy. I feel like it needs to be someone who's been at the club for a while, but everybody's gone. So Klaas is a shout, but I don't know how often he'll start, which we discussed. Yeah, it's a good point. That's the difficulty. Yeah. And Kans is saying, look, most important thing is that the captain is able to coach the team, which is true. And
Leader
also,
on the pitch.
sorry?
Leader on the pitch.
Exactly. But like you said, it's a leader that can coach. I mean, Klaassen can coach, but you should also lead by example, also being able to play well regularly as well. I mean, for instance, I hate to make the comparison always, but like Harry Maguire was captain for a whole season last season at United, but he didn't play, So that's not what we want, basically. Question from Kans, actually. Maybe somebody wants to answer this. Maybe Taylor as captain. It was maybe with a smile, but no?
I think that's a joke, right?
Yeah.
Is Taylor even starting 11 material?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's going to start in the matches. So,
all right. Jalal Oba. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Rulli, Salahuddin, Sutalo, Hato, Wijndal, Branco, Taylor, Tahirovic, Kudus, Brobbey, Bergwijn. With this 11, we will become champions easily.
Yeah, I think we said that last season as well.
Who said that last season?
When we saw the squad last season, I think some people, me included, said, it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
Nothing about it was easy.
We'll see, but don't take out the positivity in the chat, man. Come on.
Oh, right? sorry. I love it, man.
So Wesley reacting to the Kudus option, saying, I like Kudus, but he's not really a team player though, right? He's quality, but I don't think he should be a captain. So, yeah.
I think so as well, but I don't say he's not a team player. That's a stretch for me.
Yeah. Mihu
Yeah.
asking, Sorry, Poppy, go ahead.
No. He is kind of how do you say, a lone wolf? Sometimes he looks it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that he is not a team player, but he is a lone wolf.
Personality-wise, you mean?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
also
Okay,
but
yeah,
guys-
okay, true.
Yeah, but guys, also he's not an option apart from his personality and everything like that because he doesn't want to extend his contract. So basically, the chances are we want to sell him this summer because Mihu is already asking. He heard the connection with Arsenal. He wants to know is Kudus going to Arsenal? I mean,
Depends.
Yeah.
it depends on what.
If
Depends
they want to
on
pay
the-
60 million,
How much?
No.
60 million, I believe.
Is that a realistic price? Come on.
I don't know. I read somewhere that Ajax is asking 60 million, and that kind of shook Arsenal, which were preparing 40 million.
But is it? Let me ask you all to react to this. Is it clever, sensible, maybe from Ajax side, to go high on this asking price for Kudus because not extending is a clear communication, basically, that he wants to leave. If we don't sell him, he has 2 years left on his contract, which means next year he has 1 year left on his contract. Aren't we, like they say, like cutting ourselves on the fingers, as they say in Dutch? What do you think, Jadrenko?
For me, it's simple. I would raise his salary without extending, and then even trying to extend. And if he doesn't want to extend, I would take the risk because I think on the midfield, together with Van der Bomen, it's going to be a nightmare for most Eredivisie clubs, in my opinion. And I think that really solves some of the midfield issues we've been having last couple of seasons. And in case of emergency, you sell him next summer transfer window for maybe not the highest price you can. But I think there's so much value in getting the team working this season. It will be a rebuild, but in a rebuild, easily you can become champions if you get it right. Because the competition is not that strong, in my opinion.
Okay, so you wouldn't mind basically selling him for less next season because he would help us this season to reach our goals.
Yeah, and I think the overvalue in which he can help either Vos or Tahirovic in his role in the team can be huge. So I would take that.
But do you think? One more question to you, Renko. Do you think if we go with that option, that Kudus will be motivated enough to go for another season at Ajax?
I don't know. I don't know.
All right, Chava, what's your opinion?
So I guess like if there's a highlight of the match we had against Shakhtar last time, I watched the highlights. I didn't watch the entire match, but I think Kudus is going to be the man. If he stays, he's going to be definitely the man at Ajax this season. So I'm also on the side of Jadarenko, that in the sense that I wouldn't mind keeping him for another year, even if it means to sell him for a lower value next year, because I think, yes, it's a rebuild season, but he will definitely help us a lot with his experience in the pitch. And if he goes, like, definitely we will also have a gap in the team. So unless an amount at least of 50 million, I mean, considering we sold Timber for 40 to the same team, we should at least be asking for 50 million to sell Kudus this summer. Otherwise, I will keep him for the next year and then sell him next year.
All right. Papi, do you want to react to that, or can I go to the comments?
Let me react because I am biased. I love Kudus. He doesn't do everything correct, but his technical capabilities, we all seen it. It's one of a kind, not something you can replace immediately. So I know he wants to leave, but if we can keep another season, that would help us a lot. And I think it would help us in getting the most important thing, and that's winning the league. Now, on the question if he's going to Arsenal, from the view from Kudus, I would say he was a bench sitter at Ajax for so long. He's just getting his chance to be a starter. It might be wise to stay, not going to Arsenal, because I think he might be a bench player at Arsenal before he gets his chances, or he gets chosen to replace Xhaka immediately on that spot. But I don't know if that's the case. So Arsenal could be a good place for him, but it's another place where he will be on the bench and not the first choice. And I'm worried for him about that, because now it's time for him to be a starter in any team he goes to now. He has to show himself. He has to be the most important player in that team, and he has to show the stats that goes with it, with his skills and abilities.
All right, clear. Good points, Poppy. Let me go with the comments, guys, and then we move to the next subject. Let me see. So Johan is saying probably not a good sign if he is Horter. Couldn't get a game with Aberdeen. Yeah, that's the thing. Sorin is asking, do you think Bassey should be sold? This will be our next subject. Let me go through the other comments. We'll touch upon that in a bit. Roy van Hensbergen, he is saying, I think Branko van der Bomen can really be a great captain. So he agrees with most of you guys as well. Yeah, also Ziggy is saying, just make Branko van der Bomen the captain and make Hato vice captain, like a young De Ligt. All right. Let's see, what else do we have? So Donnell, thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments as well. How many new central defenders must come to Ajax? What do you guys think? Quickly, just a number.
2.
Java?
At least one that should be already ready to be a starter.
Okay, Jadrenko?
2.
All right.
1 starter, 1 talent.
All right. BRN also commenting. He's saying we could still get 30-35 million for him with 1-year contract easily. I think it also depends. If he has a very good season, like Papimento said.
If clubs come, then it doesn't have to. How do you say it?
You mean a bidding war?
Yeah, maybe not really bidding war, but you can have you can profit from that. If he has a really good season, could be.
Yeah, but the most profit for us will be if we hit our goals, right? So if we become first or we reach Champions League.
He's talking about next season.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm talking
so
about
then you have your
goals.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. The Vagabond. The fitness of the team last season was terrible also for the team spirit. I believe if these aspects improve, I believe things will really turn out fine. Yeah, this is also one of the arguments brought forward. Let's hope so. Scrolling down. Yeah, John W. is saying another highlight from the Shakhtar game match was seeing Bergwijn cover on defense. We will touch upon the games in a bit and ask for your opinions as well on this one. The Vagabonds reacted to the Kudus, saying Kudus' stats are quite solid. I agree with the new guest that this price could easily be 50 million. I believe the new guest, Chava, right? Yes. Jim goes fishing. Oh, you're already answering the question that we were going to talk about. So, okay, so it's nice to have his opinion already. I think Bassey can stay, but he needs to build up his confidence.
Do that somewhere else. Thank you.
Wait, Jadrenko, wait before you talk about it. The Vagabond, this is the final comment, by the way. Agree with Papi that Kudus should go to a team where he plays. Yeah, absolutely, of course. It's actually for everyone, right? We want the players that leave Ajax to do well in other teams as well. Okay, guys, so our thumbnail, we know about the official bid of Fulham yesterday. £50 million, 70 million euros. It's a real bid. We know how much we paid for Calvin Bassey last summer, 23 million excluding bonuses or add-ons. What's your view? Because he signed a 5-year contract. We've seen him a season now. We know what his strengths are, very obvious. We know what his weaknesses are, very obvious. Is it something that we have to give a little bit more time? Or is it like, no, just cut your losses because this is not going to bring us further, more or less. Chava, let me give it to you first.
Yeah, I guess it all depends on whether if we're going to bring a new central defender to the team, right? Because if you look now at the roster in the defense, especially for the central defense, you only have Hato Kaplan, who's still injured, and Bassey. So you cannot risk selling him right now, and probably that's why Ajax is so reluctant to sell him, because you only have two other options, right? So if somebody else comes, and there has been a couple of names that have been brought up, like Van der Berg or Sutalor or whoever it is, then you have like more space to sell him. And now let's consider that we get another central defender. I would say that Bassey he doesn't have the Ajax DNA in him, you know what I mean? And his strengths are not like the strengths we're looking for as a central defender. He has to be like really good with his foot on with the ball. So yes, he's really strong. He has a lot of physical strength, but I think that he doesn't have Ajax DNA, and it all depends, because if we don't cash on him right now, and if he stays in the team and Spain doesn't play him because we have the other two like starting options, then his value will decrease for next year because we will not have that much minutes. So,
but he will always be an interesting. One of the advantages of having Bassey is he's homegrown, for the UK teams, so his value will not diminish a lot. That's the other side of the coin, right? For us, it's a good thing because there is another incentive for teams in the UK to have him or to bid for a UK player. So I agree with you. His value will diminish a little bit, but not to that extent. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. You have a good point, Juan.
So what's your point of view? Is it like if you had to choose, what would you do?
I would actually sell him.
You would?
Yeah.
And then get two central defenders or three central defenders then?
I would say two central defenders.
Okay, so who would be the cover of Hato then? Kaplan. You have trust in Kaplan.
Yeah, if Kaplan, of course, like assuming Kaplan like it's ready to play and he doesn't get injured anymore.
Yeah. All right. So you would take the risk. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Because we also have other positions to cover at the front.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But Papimento, what about you?
Look, for me, Wijndal and Bassey can go. That's one. But I think Bassey will, create more of a wig for us to operate in. So he will clear more salary. He will clear more money for us coming in than a Wijndal, I think. But both are equally, like, I don't know what to do with in this team because they lack in quality so much. I think Bassey should. I'm hoping Bassey can give us what Alvarez and Martinez did, come back. But I don't see it. And last time we saw the friendly with Bassey playing, making a mistake like that, I was like, he didn't learn much, and it's almost a new season again. So I'm really doubting if he can show us like a change that he belongs here. I don't think he will. So therefore I would say he needs to go. But does he need to go for 17 million with a 4-year contract? That's losing a lot of money. So I would say sell him just because we need the money and we need right central defenders.
What if you can get, let's say Ajax can negotiate for 20 million, like just take a 3 million loss on the fixed fee. Is that okay for you?
If it helps us solve other positions that are lacking in this team, yes.
All right. Yadorenko, I think you already answered the question before I asked the question, but just to be clear for everyone as well, what's your opinion on this?
So
for the 70 million already, you would even negotiate.
If it were 15, I would sell as well. If it were 10, I would sell. I would take my loss.
Okay, because he doesn't fit the Ajax team basically.
No, and for me there are always two aspects. One, can you use him? Can he grow? Can you use him? And two, are you blocking his career and his development? That's also why I would say goodbye to some youth players, because you just know they're never gonna get to Ajax 1. So let them move on and develop their career. So I would cut my losses and maybe get a bigger sell-on clause. Maybe that's a good trick, that you up that. So if he gets results, that you profit a little bit of that. But basically, I would cut my loss.
Okay. All right. Guys, just going over the comments about this topic quickly before we move to the next one. Ziggy is saying, I would definitely not sell without profit, especially with so many years left on his contract. I know many will not agree. Sorry, not sorry. All right. No, it's your opinion. It's all good. Kans is saying, yeah, we also thought Botman and Schuurs were not good enough. Right.
But they're not good enough.
Big difference. Big difference.
Yeah, but they're not good enough for our play style.
Yeah.
That they do it well in a different play style, that doesn't say anything about the play style at Ajax. It just requires a different kind of defender. And not all defenders can play the Ajax game.
All right. Clear. Yeah, Vagabond also saying Kaplan. Ziggy is saying Kaplan is a huge gamble. We've never seen him play, really. True. Also the Vagabond saying, what about Salahuddin and Wijndal, as a left back? So maybe, I think he means pushing Salahuddin maybe to a central role. I don't know about that. I don't see him as a central defender, to be honest. But, I mean, it's interesting. It also depends who will be alongside him, right? Who will be the right central defender? We don't know. That's the whole thing right now. Now with the friendlies, yesterday and before, we're seeing Ajaxs play, more or less. We don't know who's going to be the right central defender in the new season. So that remains to be seen. What else do we have? Going through the comments quickly. Sahbi is in the chat. Welcome, Sahbi. Sahbi is saying, I sincerely think Bassey can do well in the Premier League, as that would suit his type of play. He does not fit the play that Ajax wants to play, unfortunately. Yeah, it's basically what Papimento also said. Yeah, and everybody actually here said it, to be honest. All right. And then Royce saying one more comment. I still have high confidence that he can really keep up developing because he's really eager to learn. Yeah, I remember also last year when we spoke with a Rangers fan, and I said what is one of his best attributes, and they said like he has an incredible steep learning curve. So, let's see. We've been surprised before about certain players, so maybe he can surprise us. We don't know. Let's see what happens in the next few weeks. Next topic, guys, is actually, we talked about it a little bit, but now I'm going to give you guys the time to just like the key takeaways. We played only 2 friendlies, so it's a bit early still in the preseason. But I think yesterday we saw a little bit more compared to the Den Bosch game against Shakhtar. Of course, big difference between the first half and second half. Other players, same as with Den Bosch. What are the takeaways for you? Like, if you can make, take a conclusion from those games. We have Anderlecht actually on Saturday as well, and then we're going on training camp. So let me give it to Jederenko first.
Key takeaways is what I said in the last live. Just say goodbye to Bergwijn. Make a cut in that. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because I thought honestly, like key takeaway, you're gonna talk about the new players, how they're doing, or
yeah, but I'm coming to that. I'm first negative, and then I'm gonna be positive.
Okay. Other people start the other way around, but okay, fine. Go ahead.
I'm strange, Wijndal. What the hell did he do on his holiday? I don't know. But also what I've seen from Berghuis, it's not, and from Klaassen, it's not on par with the experience they have and the quality they have showed in the past. They don't step up. Even in the game against Den Bosch or Shakhtar, they don't step up. And if I look at Salahuddin, if I look at Gods, if I look at Vos, if I look at Hato, if I look at Van der Bome, yeah, I can believe that. I can see why you would choose them as starters. I'm actually liking that. So I would go that direction and just clean house, as I said last time.
All right.
Do you want more takeaways?
No, I just wanted to know, did you cover all the takeaways or do you have more positives?
Yeah, Kudus is I think phenomenal, especially in potential. But what I'm a bit worried about is that they still, with the completely new technical staff, they still put Kudus on the right. They still put Klaassen as a 10. So they're making the same mistakes over and over again, and I'm wondering where that's coming from, because it's really strange. If you start fresh, you expect a fresh view on things,
Yeah.
especially when the whole staff is replaced. It's not like that only the coach is coming in. You know, everyone is new.
Yeah, it's a good point. Look, we don't know, right? We don't know how things will evolve. Maybe they will change it. We have to be patient. But it's an interesting point you raised, because we're seeing 3 coaches now in a row that are playing Kudus on the right wing. So maybe it's not. Maybe the coaches have a point and we're looking at it wrong. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's not. He doesn't have the tactical awareness. That's something that you hear all the time. He
But
doesn't have the tactical awareness to play in the center.
But be honest, when I saw him play on the midfield, when they changed it up within the game and they brought in Conceição or something like that, and he went to the midfield, you saw, in my opinion, that he should play on the midfield.
Yeah, all right.
Because with his passing and his speed of development, it's so integrated to the game you want to play. I really don't understand why you go back to putting him on the right again.
It might not be the right conclusion, because I know Chico wasn't there from the start, so they might have just put him there to cover that spot, as we don't have many right wingers. But that might not say anything for the remainder of the season, and we might
But
see Kudus on 10. So
but I think it's strange that in all the years I've watched football, mostly the most vital thing is the midfield, and where we have problems in the midfield. And
yeah, but
one
we
of the
look
best
we
players-
look at it. Yeah, but we
Yeah.
look at it, Jadirenko, from the attacking side of things. I think coaches really emphasize on defense, and I think that's where he doesn't get chosen on the midfield for his defensive work. I don't know if that's correct, but I think if 3 coaches are not putting him in that position, or
But-
it is to create a position for Klaassen so he can play, or he doesn't have the defensive capabilities to play midfield.
But should this be so hard? You just tell him, okay, you see that ball? If they have the ball, hunt for it.
No. But it's not that simple.
It's not that complicated.
No, but it's not only hunt for the ball. I don't think that's the problem with Kudus. I think he plays out of position. Off the ball, he's most of the time out of position. He doesn't have the natural feeling yet to know where he should stand when the opposing team is having a counterattack or whether they're building up. You can see that sometimes, to be very honest with you. And by the way, talking about right wingers, now Berghuis is a little bit injured, but in the first game against Den Bosch, he played right wing actually. So, but then Kudus was not there yet. So we have to see. There are options. We have to see whether he will stay at the right wing, yes or no. Look, coming back to the topic, right? Just going with Papimento now. The key takeaways for you, Papi, on the.
I'm just gonna my takeaways are always positives, because I'm not gonna take away anything that's negative now. So Hato, I liked his passing from the back, forward passing, something we lacked a lot last season. Branco with his forward passing, long balls, direct passing, really like sending people on a mission to the goal. Something we haven't seen last season a lot. Caught my eye, loved it. That's why I think he will be a starter this season. And yeah, I mean, we already talked about Kudus, but wow, um, it looks like he's very happy to be back at Ajax and showing it as well. So yeah, I'm still hoping for that he stays, because there's no one of his quality in this team, and it would really get us to reach our goals this season. So yeah, he really stood out.
Chava, you saw the highlights only, so I'm gonna just ask you like anything from the highlights that stood out for you.
I would say Kudus being involved in all goals. So, as I mentioned earlier, he's going to be our most valuable. If he stays, he's going to be our most valuable player of the season, as he was during the second half of last season. And also, adding to Jadrenko's and Papimento's comments about Kudus, I also think that he was playing in the right wing. A lot had to do with our lack of depth in that position once Anthony left, because we tried many options last year: Tadić, Berghuis, Conceição, of course, but Conceição wasn't ready to start the full match. So I guess relative to all those other players, Kudus was the best choice we had as in the right wing, even though we had to sacrifice him being at the center of the field. But I will also highlight that also I liked Branco's passing abilities, Tahirovic pressing. I think they could be starters in the team, and that also raises me the question whether Taylor will be a starter for next season. And also, I would say that another highlight for me was Salah Eddin starting before Wingdal, and probably also making us look for another left back.
Yeah, about Salahuddin, I think somebody early in the comments, somebody already touched on Salahuddin, but it was too early to touch upon him, so sorry for that. Where do you guys see him? Do you guys see him as the left back, or do you guys see him maybe as like how he played at 20? You know, maybe he can move to the DM role. Jadrenko, what's your point of view on that?
For me, the midfield is filled in. If I get my way, it's going to be Vos, it's going to be Van der Boom, it's going to be Kudus. I see Salahuddin purely as a left back, and a good left back, because he can come into the midfield and he can support the attack a little bit, which is the attacking gameplay you want. Either go around the outside or through the middle.
Invert. Yeah, very good. Chava, same question to you. So I'm giving you this one as well about Salahuddin. Do you agree with Jadrenko, or do you have a different perspective?
No, I mean, given the current squad we have, I don't see him playing in the midfield because it's already overcrowded. But in the left, we do have a vacancy there because Wingdal is not good enough.
Okay. All right. All right. Just let me go to the comments again about this topic, so people are reacting quickly. John W is saying frontline defense much more effective at swarming and stealing the ball, much quicker to respond. Yeah, it's a good observation. I agree with that. Roy is saying there was a good team connection, and Van der Boom was giving passes like our wizard Ziyech did before. I really like that. Yeah, I think we all did, actually.
We missed that, man. We missed that.
Love that.
And you would expect something like that also from Berghuis on the midfield. And that's what I was not getting from him last season. So that Branco is doing that, I'm really excited with that.
We have another comment. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce that name. It's too difficult, so forgive me. But yeah, exactly. Is it our midfield too slow with Alvarez and Van der Boom when we play a high line? If that will be the case, I agree with you. Yeah, I would agree with that. But if maybe 5% chance Alvarez stays, then Alvarez could be also a good CB option. We don't have to put him in the midfield, because it will solve getting 2 CBs, more or less. But yeah, we'll see.
Not my favorite option.
I'm sorry?
Alvarez CB, not my favorite option. Because I think as a midfielder, if your team is really compact in the positioning, you actually have to make the right decisions in your positioning, but you don't have to run as much and be stretched as much as you are when you play, for instance, a central defender, where speed comes into play. And I think that he lacks. but maybe Hato could cover it for him if he would play that.
All right. Just a question. Do you think last season Timber and Alvarez, because they played together as CBs, do you think that didn't go well?
No, I thought actually it went above expectation. I didn't expect Alvarez to do so well, even though I like him more as a CDM.
Okay. All right. Returning to the comments, the Vagebond is saying because of the Dutch coaches and they're all fall in the class trap, hardworking, sometimes scoring, nice guy. Okay. I think.
Are you sure that's not me? That's not a copy or a clone? Because he exactly how I think about Klaassen.
Yeah, I wanted to say basically that this is like Papimento reacting to Klaassen almost. Kans is saying, I don't think Kudus is very motivated to play for Ajax. Are you talking in general, Kans, or are you talking like one more season? Let us know. The Vagebond is saying also, Van der Bomen played a little bit like Jonk back in the days. You remember those days, Jadrenko?
Of course I do.
Do you agree? Do you agree with that observation?
What's this? Yeah. Especially the passing bits, which definitely is comparable with what Young did in the early 90s at Ajax.
All right. Murder Inc. Chico's our fastest player. He should be the right winger, and Kudus should be a 10. So we, agreeing with you guys. Next one, if I get a question, I'll ask that one to you, Java. I'm looking. Also, the Vagebond said exactly, Aderenko Zahradin could play as Mazraoui did in the past on the right wing as a fourth midfielder, I believe. He can come in basically. Let me see. Fudokai is saying, look, the problem with Kudus is he dribbles too much. Klaassen speeds up the game with simplicity. You see, other people have other opinions. So
I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree as well.
Which part? With the Kudus dribbles too much, or with the Klaassen?
Yeah, I think he dribbles because he's on the right side. In the center, he mostly gets the ball, turns and passes, and that's what I love on Kudus, because he's quick and accurate, and that progresses the gameplay you want.
And let's say Klaassen gets the ball and there is a lot of room behind him. Would he surpass a player that is behind him just to make the dribble and cover like 80 or half the field or something to create something beautiful? No, Klaassen would never do that. He would pass back and then go into position to wait for the ball in the box. That's the only thing he can do. So yeah, sometimes with his simplicity, with a one-touch pass, Klaassen does something that speeds up the game. But I've seen many times where he just passes back, doesn't understand the room he has around him, and his capabilities doesn't give him the options to do anything with that room. So in that sense, Kudus would be better.
Yeah, all right. One more comment. Kudus is okay at the right wing since we don't have much options at the moment. Yeah, so that's also something that was brought up. Okay, so I have a question for you. Actually, a question from one of the viewers for Chava. So we have a Mexican guest in the stream. Chava, what do people in Mexico think about Jorge Sanchez?
Uh-oh.
Actually,
first, what do you think about Jorge Sanchez? And then maybe you have a different opinion than your other Mexican friends,
Yeah, so. No, I think my opinion is the same regarding Bassey in the sense that Jorge play style doesn't match Ajax style, but he has other strengths, and that those strengths are well regarded in Mexico. And I mean, he's our starter right back in the national team. We just won the Gold Cup. He played pretty much all the minutes of the cup, so he's good, but he always struggles with the ball, especially when he gets to the end of the line and he has to do that final pass. So I don't.
So one question, right? Just sorry to interrupt. So Mexico, congratulations, by the way, you guys won the Gold Cup. But we also saw the stars of the tournament, and Jorge Sanchez was there.
Yeah.
Did you watch the games? Can you explain to us how did he make the? I don't want to be insensitive, but more like, what made him so great in that tournament? What are we not seeing? What makes him strong in the team?
First of all, I would say that we have to see like the Mexican team relative to the other teams. The US didn't bring his like first team, Canada neither. So it was basically Mexico, the team that had the best players. So that like makes the roster even smaller. So in that regard, we actually made it to the final. And Jorge did play some good games. Like his defending is good, but the way Mexico plays, it's not the way Ajax play. Like building from the back, like short passes, like going quick to the front. So that's where I think Jorge's weaknesses are, and that he doesn't feel comfortable with the ball. But in the Mexican team, he just has to defend well, and he doesn't have to contribute that much to the front line to actually appear in the stars of the tournament. So
when he gets the ball, right? Does he get the ball like in opponent's half at that stage? So not in his own half, but he gets it at the end when you guys are attacking? Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, makes sense. All right, guys. Basically, okay. So probably I will share this with you. You understand what he's saying. All right. So, guys, one more question to you before we end the stream. We're already, of course, we never can manage within an hour. It's my fault. I apologize. Sneijder, guys. Sneijder is most likely to come to Ajax, being part of the technical staff of Maurice Stijn. He's also open to that, and actually Stijn was trying to get him on his staff before at Sparta. Where do you guys stand on this? And before you guys react to that, just quick mention also on Urbi being assistant of Young Ajax. Which is a nice thing as well, I think. But just in general, touching upon Sneijder, because it also has a sensitive thing to it, basically. We all know what happened a few years ago when he filmed himself driving and making jokes. I will say making jokes. We all know it was something else. But in general, Sneijder coming to the technical staff, does he add something in your view? Is it the wise and sensible decision to do that? Yedirenko, your point of view.
He actually has experience on the world stage. So I would say could be. And I actually like his no bullshit approach on football, making things not too complicated. Maybe that's his style, but I don't think it's a bad thing. And about the shenanigans he did. We all know Bergwijn said stuff about Ajax. We all know Berghuis said stuff about Ajax, and I think Sneijder, as an Ajax man, maybe went over the line a bit, but I full-heartedly agree with what Van der Vaart said. He's also did great things at Ajax. And
okay, Java, your opinion on this?
I think Sneijder is a reference, right, for as an Ajax player. So he played very well. So I think he brings his experience to the table, and that complements Stijn, because Stijn doesn't have that background. So in that sense, I think it's good. And also, he likes to be in front of the camera a lot. So I think that could also bring the attention to him and release some of the pressure to some of the players, especially the young ones. So, I mean, that's looking for something for it to make sense. But apart from that, we all know that he was not very Ajax friendly once he retired, and with his comments on the media lately. But I think that it wouldn't be my first choice, but those are the things I see as positives of bringing him to the staff.
Okay, so you're positive about that as well.
Yeah.
Papi?
Yeah, what do you want me to say? I mean, look, he has the Ajax DNA. He played at the highest stage in football. He had one of the best coaches in the world training him. I'm not talking about he had Louis van Gaal, but he also had Mourinho, and he had different coaches, but all elite coaches that he trained with. So I think he could definitely add something. The only thing is, after he quit playing, he also went on a commercial. He went. he, he went to
Rules
sit
of
also
cars.
at a. Yeah, but he also went to sit with Johan Derksen at a show where I was listening sometimes to him,
Yeah,
and
he
I'm
became-
like 50%.
Yeah, he became a pundit. Yeah.
Exactly, but 50% of what he was saying I wasn't agreeing with, so I was like, okay, can I take this guy seriously? But maybe it was just for that show and it wasn't the serious Snyder. But look, I think he could add something. Just I don't know what it would be, but I think he could help Stein with his experience. That's for sure. I just don't know if he has a real look at things the way I do. In that case, I would look more to Maduro because at ESPN he was doing analysis and stuff like that, and he was doing really good and explaining exactly the pain points that Ajax was having. And in that sense, I was agreeing more with him in the way he wants to play and what they want to do than what Snyder sometimes says. But it also depends on what the responsibility of Snyder's will be. And I don't think assistant coaches have that much of a responsibility, right?
Yeah. I'm looking at it also from a perspective like what Renko said earlier. Like, you have to look at it both ways. Is it good for Ajax? It's also good for a player. In this sense, it's also good for Snyder. Maybe this will kickstart his coaching career as well, because he will be at Ajax, where it all started for him. He has Maduro next to him, who's very, as you said, knowledgeable about tactical stuff, especially, and giving training and stuff. So maybe he will learn firsthand. And also, I think he will work with the Ajax players, the young players, etc. And the young players, let's be honest, like Sneijder was a big player for us, not only for Ajax but also for the Dutch football in general. And I still believe he deserved that golden ball in 2010. But that's my opinion. Yeah, that's it. I see a lot of comments, people laughing also to the commercial that you brought up. I think people are laughing about that. I had to laugh about that because it just came in my mind. I totally forgot about it, actually. All right. So my only question. Oh, there is one thing I want to add to conclude this video, which is shared by Luca. He's saying, just in, Ajax receives 1.27 million solidarity contribution from the Onana United transfer. The third biggest ever after De Ligt and Suarez. No, that's good news.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely nice. Listen, guys, it was a blast again. It always goes like 1 hour and 20 minutes almost. And still, we haven't seen the fireworks in the transfer window. So let's hope for.
We're not going to touch up that just 1 minute.
I'm sorry?
We're not going to touch up the transfer panic 1 minute.
Are you panicking? Are you guys panicking? Quickly.
No.
Okay.
No.
Are you panicking, Puppy?
Okay.
No,
but
nobody's panicking.
Twitter is.
Oh,
You know why I'm not panicking? Just
Why?
because I understand the situation and the communication of Ajax is much better than it used to be. We all know that they're waiting for money to get in of the transfers that are going out. And with that money, they want people in. But what most is giving me calmness is the players that are being talked about are all quality players with high ceilings. So that at least we're looking at the right players, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't guarantee those are the players that Sven is looking at. So we have to be careful with that. Yeah. So okay, but you guys are calm. Chava, you're calm as well.
Yes, I just I guess I just expect Alvarez's situation to get solved soon, because the way we receive that money sooner, then we will actually start doing something about it.
Okay. At what point, just final question also for you guys in the comments before we end. At what point would you panic? At what stage of the transfer window, if we still don't have any signing, would you think like, oh, this is getting a little bit too close for my comfort?
Talk to me next week in the live show.
Oh, a week from now.
Show.
A week
from now.
I don't
At
even
least
know.
2 signings next week, or else I'm not calm anymore.
Okay, so you're giving it 1 week actually now.
Yeah.
Okay, Chava?
I'll give 2 weeks to start panicking.
Yadorenko?
I'm not going to panic.
All right, guys, thank you so much, Chafa. It was an honor. Hope to see you back on the channel again soon, if you want, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
Did great.
Yeah, and, also thanks to everyone who tuned in for the nice comments and reactions and questions as well. We'll see you guys next week again, and yeah, enjoy the friendlies as well. See you.